Well, it's a gorgeous day here in January, and today we're going to talk about week one from 2023. Let's get going. Well, after that little cold snap there at the end of 2022, the first week of 2023 was sort of refreshing. We were able to get outside, get quite a bit done. I did have a bit of a cold though, so, but whatever. It looks like the first couple weeks here in January are going to be fantastic, so we are going to take advantage of that and try to get as much as we possibly can done here on the homestead to prep for the summer planting. And in fact, because the weather is going to be so good, we're actually going to go ahead and try to get some lettuce planted in the inside greenhouse, and then in the daytime we'll move it outside as the days get longer and longer. But let's go ahead and get started by looking at these beds that we were getting ready for this year. So as we stated in the review of the old garden, turning the soil over is going to be really important for us this year. I'll put a link up here above of the video we did earlier this week. But I wanted to go ahead and show this here in the old garden. We'll also go ahead and take a look at the beds here in the top garden. And the idea is we just want to be able to get sort of the process started in the beds as far as the microbes breaking down any of the remaining organic matter that was left from the year before. These days like this, it's getting into the upper 50s, low 60s. You turn these beds over, give them a little bit of air, and it will give us a head start for nice healthy soil heading into the spring.
This is going to be our wildflower garden. I'm excited.
Well, you can see we went ahead and tilled up Leslie's flower row as well. Another thing I did that I didn't show earlier was you can tell between these beds behind me there's a lot more leaves and things. Just took leaves from the yard, put them in there, and acted as a mulch. But before I did that, I moved quite a bit of dirt in front of the carrot bed down there. So if you kind of pay attention, you can tell the ground is much more level, and the dirt is quite a bit higher on the carrot bed. What I'm hoping is that it helps regulate the temperatures in the bed both in the summer and in the winter time, and also helps with some of the runoff and kind of helps to hold moisture in. This bed here is where we try to propagate our cherry tomatoes. Last year it didn't do very well because it didn't get much sun, and that has a lot to do with this crepe myrtle here. So we are going to take it down a little bit. I'm going to trim it off, and hopefully it makes it. If not, well, whatever. It's no big deal. We are also going to take back a bunch of this bamboo back here. That'll be done probably next week or so, but a lot of that is going. Anyway, taking all of that out, it should provide for quite a bit of extra sun for this bed, so that hopefully our cherry tomatoes will do better this year. We also have another crepe myrtle we're going to trim. We'll look at that here in a sec. So we got this one cut down pretty good. As you can see, it's going to create quite a bit more sunlight through here. You trying to sneak up on somebody, Beans? Just while we're going through here as well, we went ahead and just tidied this crepe myrtle up as well. Last year we trimmed it for much the same reason, although a lot of it did die because of the winter before that was pretty rough. But so what we did this time was just kind of take it back. You can see where we had cut it last time, and actually we didn't have to cut much. You can actually just break the small limbs off of it, and each year it'll grow back from there, and it'll make sort of like over here it'll make like a big ball looking thing. I call them a knuckle sometimes, but you can just go through and break them off each year. They'll get nice flowers on them, but they'll allow your beds to get enough sun throughout the summer as well. So it's a kind of a win-win. Well, as it turns out, we could not let this weather pass without planting something So in the outside gardens, we did take the opportunity to throw some onion bulbs in. We also planted some radishes, that sort of thing, something that could take some cold. Here indoors in the indoor greenhouse, we are going to start some black-seeded Simpson. We are going to do 18 plugs of the black-seeded Simpson, and we're going to do 24 plugs of the Butter Crunch. So what we did was we just took a basic seed starting mix. We added a little vermiculite to it. I also took some of our compost and put it through like a grate just to make sure it was real fine. That way I don't have to add any sort of fertilizer or anything, but I made sure it was well aged so it won't hurt the seedlings at all. So anyway, I wanted to throw this in here so that next week in our vlog we can kind of go over and see where all of our plants are 7 days later. Well, I'd like to wrap up this video with just a few things looking ahead. Going into this next week, the weather's supposed to be really great. So what we're going to do is we're going to start working on that massive dirt pile that we have to take care of. I'm going to put a bunch of it in front of the blackberries so that when the time comes for that bamboo we saw earlier, cut it down, shred it over the top of it, and hopefully kind of insulate our blackberries for the years to come. Another thing we want to do with the dirt is move it, and we're going to put it back here behind me on the other side of the top bed up here, and we are going to begin getting the pad ready to put up our new greenhouse. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks we can show you folks that as well. So with that being said, as always, we appreciate everyone sticking it out here till the end. Until next time, I hope you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.